Peace, family. A couple of quick announcements before we start the program. First and foremost, I want to tell everybody about the 2020 Ascension Conference happening November 3rd in New York City. I advise everybody to come to New York City, and if you're unable to come, make sure you get the pay-per-view live stream. But it's going to be an absolutely amazing spiritual event. The best way for us to bring in 2020. We got Red Pill speaking, Blue Pill speaking, Sri Master Gano Grills, and Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. You know, the brother has over 1 million subscribers on Instagram and throughout his networks. And you know, it's just going to be a magnificent spiritual event. Make sure you're there. That's in St. Francis College in Brooklyn, New York. Okay, besides that, make sure you support King Simon November 10th. He's having his 24th celebration in promotion and production, and he's going to have a list of speakers there, and it's going to be magnificent. I know my brother KT, the Arch Degree, will be in the building that day, as well as other speakers. Also, make sure you hit the brother up as far as numerology. He will help you in terms of that sign, so make sure you contact the brother in terms of that. Shout out to my brother Mike, who has the crowns. If you see my brother Styles P right here, but you'll see everybody wearing these crowns in the conscious community. Red Pill, Blue Pill, Sarnetta, everybody got these crowns, and I advise you to get yours. All right. Besides that, I want to give a shout out to Lisa Brown. She has the best Kemetic yoga mats in the world, and everybody's getting them at this point, so I advise you to get yours, and make sure you get your yoga on. Shout out to Parindra Rajadeep, who got the organic products as far as stimulating growth, as far as alopecia, pain relief, and other things. Make sure you contact these individuals for help with that. Besides that, make sure you hit up riversideTaiChi.com for the joint balance formula. This has been selling great on the website. Glucose support formula, that's something else that's real good for stable blood sugar, so make sure you contact the brother for that as well. All right, family, besides that, we're going to get to the program.
Yeah. Listen, we're going to have a great talk today about Tyler Perry's movie studios. I think this is something that people need to know the history of how Hollywood started.
Yes.
And we're in real time, we're seeing how Tyler Perry is starting his thing. So I want to make analysis and compare the two and see where this might be headed. What's going on with Tyler Perry? Before we get into that, quick an important announcement. You're getting ready to do an amazing lecture November 3rd, the 2020 Ascension Conference.
Top to the morning to you.
Yo, I've never... I'm listening to Red Pill behind the scenes. I haven't heard Red Pill be this metaphysical, this quantum in my life. Like, he's going on some shit, family, pardon the language, but he's going upstairs. It's high frequency talk. This is Red Pill like you've never seen him before. He's dealing with neuroplasticity. He's dealing with rewiring the brain.
Brain hacking.
Neural hacking. I mean, just a lot of things. Quantum jumping, parallel realities. I mean, it's an amazing lecture that's life-changing that you don't want to miss, family. That's November 3rd.
Scorpio season.
Yeah, Scorpio
AKA.
season at the St. Francis College, family. Also, he will be performing Last Breath with Cambada and Blue Pill. So you don't want to miss that.
Yes.
But besides that, Red, Tyler Perry, 330 acres in Atlanta.
And Fort McPherson.
Fort McPherson.
I used to drive right past that for years.
For years, huh?
Yeah. And it was far. You had a long ride. But it's a long fort. Confederate, that is. Yeah.
I think the majority of black people are extremely proud. It's weird. And I understand both sides. I'm extremely proud of this brother for what he's accomplished.
Yeah.
Except if you're conscious or woke, you may have some reservations based on his history of movie making and what he has done to get where he has gotten. So, you know, people have reservations about celebrating his success, but it's absolutely amazing what the brother has accomplished. And I just want to get your opinion on it. You have talked about Hollywood plenty of times in the past. You have a thorough knowledge of the history of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Red Pill.
Well, first of all, to even condemn or have any kind of anger towards a person who formerly had a studio. It ain't like he popped out of nowhere and just got this studio. He already had a studio. Like, he was already in Atlanta with a full studio. So for anybody to get mad at the demonstration that a Tyler Perry may be doing by having a studio and then getting a bigger studio, basically upgrading, taking advantage of a property that was up for sale and whatnot, and doing what needed to be done, right? Which is in the year of ownership, in the age of ownership, in the time of that conversation where that narrative has been, it's been made, it has a full spectrum in our community. So boom, he's showing you ownership. You know, there was a few things that took place during this deal. His former property is now owned by two Latin brothers. So they now have his former property, his former studio, which was, you know, it had a few sound stages and whatnot. It was impeccable. So now they're going to be doing that for their demographics. Then you have Tyler Perry with this studio here. Now what this studio here represents by being, they did the ritual. They already brought all of the stars out. They lined them up, and where? In Black Hollywood, ATL, right? And when you see this place, did you see it?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the work that's been done to create remember, people make movies, you know, but when you create a studio that has streets that are replicas of antebellum South, then there's streets where it's replicas of the White House, then there's streets where it's replicas of city life, many different cities. Then there's streets where there's replicas of Strivers Row and stuff. Like, they went in on the design of the studio. 330 acres, bigger than all of the studios combined. Wow. Thus, showing on the scorecard or wherever they're taking notes at, then look, these black people who for 400 years, because we're in the Jubilee, for 400 years have been basically, you know, second to last, if not last. Here they go with a studio bigger than ours. Do you know that is something, and it's on a, mind you, look at the poetic justice in this. It's on a former Confederate Army base, okay? So if the movies, or film for that matter, is of the highest expression of arts and sciences, and they are classifying Hollywood and the movies that they produce as weapons of mass distraction, weapons of mass hypnosis, weapons of mass suggestion, weapons of mass destruction, and other things, then a black man building the biggest movie studio on an army base or a military base, it's in poetic, you know what I mean? He's only following tradition, and that is a weapon that he just built right there. You understand? Because the war that has been fought, and the war that was enacted, and the war that was basically created by Eastern European Jews who were escaping the quote-unquote pogroms of Eastern Europe. What is a pogrom?
Yeah,
pogroms would be the equivalent of lynchings, pillaging, and race riots all in one. Pogroms were what it was taking place in Europe against the quote-unquote Jews. The Khazars.
Who was doing that against the Jews?
This was the Russians, and this was other Asians and whatnot, and Europeans.
Why were they doing that against this group of people?
There was religious uproar. People were blaming Jews for the death of Christ. There was also and a lot of outbursts and a lot of quote unquote, community outrage at what they call blood libel. But when you peel it back, blood libel translates to pedophilia, blood libel translates to kidnapping, blood libel translates to them, the act of them shedding the blood of children. Okay? And hanging them upside down and all of these other things. It follows them, coinkadinkly everywhere that they go. So these pogroms were Russians and other people or Europeans coming in on horseback, burning down their villages, killing them, raping their women. And this was going on all across Europe.
White on white violence?
All that. So they come, they scatter. You have the Eastern European coming into America. It's the era of Nickelodeons, vaudevilles, right? Look, vaudevilles, clowns and clown makeup. Being the Joker, right? Doing that part. Vaudevilles, they have minstrel shows and other things. And then you get into the moving picture. Thomas Edison has a lock on he's trying to get a monopoly on film with the actual film and all of that. The Jews break off and go westward into a land that had not yet been built.
So they built Hollywood.
Listen.
They built that.
They went to a land that was not yet built with a will.
Damn.
Right? They was on a run from Thomas Edison and them boys because we're talking about white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Hold up. The Jews was on the run from, I'm sorry, guys.
Yes, because we're talking about understanding race relationships. We're talking about not thinking about what was going on in today's, point of view, but think about it all the way back then. Exactly. So Jews were basically treated worse than quote unquote niggers, right? So the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant power structure, the power system, the highborn, the blue bloods from the UK. I'm talking about them people there. Not these, so they like, yo, y'all not gonna y'all better play your positions. So they go to California and they build what is known as Hollywood. They build Hollywood by specifically building what you know as studios. It wasn't just in offices. It wasn't people talking about, they built studios, but these studios were lots. And these lots were basically real life replicas of worlds and realities that necessarily did not exist in everyday life, right? And these people, these wizards, these Eastern European Jews they were outsiders trying to get in, right? Trying to be accepted. So the way that they get accepted into society, into white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, what they call WASP, the society, highborn blue blood society, is they created these films, these 5 studios, MGM,
Lionsgate.
No, not it wasn't Lionsgate at that point.
Paramount?
You have MGM, you have, Paramount. You have, regardless. And these studios were able to create the image of America that we know now today. It was able to, what they say, colonize the mind. The mind was colonized through Hollywood, through the big screen, through the invention of the movie or the moving picture, because the people who were behind these moving pictures were actually propagandists, and they were telling a story of America that never existed. The way that they were portraying America as, the way that they were giving you the Humphrey Bogart stories, the way that they were giving you the Gone with the Winds, the way that they were giving you the quote unquote, what's the movie, the Rise of it, what's that?
Color Purple or?
No, the first movie they had that they made.
Goodbye Uncle Tom, that joint? No?
Yeah, not Goodbye Uncle Tom. The
Roots?
No, the first movie that they made where
I don't know.
where they was talking about, what is it?
But just go ahead, dude.
Yeah.
They come to us, go ahead.
So by doing, by portraying our people, by portraying black people, you know what I'm saying, in such a negative light, they were able to find favor and be accepted into highborn society. They began marrying their women, they began changing their names, and they began their quest or their journey or their acceptance into the fabric of America through entertainment and through politics and many other things. So the power of the movie and the power of, having a studio and being able not just to conceptualize your story, but having all of the resources available to tell your story, right? As long as the script fits, what you have available in terms of scenery and whatnot. But once you have a full studio like that, 303 acres, you don't have to even leave the property, So it's some powerful things that are happening. I have to remove the personal feelings that I have about what Tyler Perry represents when it comes to, what he has contributed to the negative imagery of our people on a global scale through the medium of film. Because if you read his discography, right, if you just take a step back and you read his discography, if you go from 2005 all the way to 2019, it'll be a very interesting list of titles of movies that sound just in the title, it's very detrimental. It's been very detrimental. They're talking about a lot of stuff or promoting a lot of stuff that, is not good in our community. So, but outside of that, I think that it's going to signal, it's going to be the call, it's going to be that call, that trumpet that many people need to hear, and they will follow suit. It's not just going to be Tyler Perry. So I don't think that people should ridicule or, say that he's wrong for doing what he's supposed to do. They got to do their own.
He got his name on the highway down there.
Yeah, on the exit, right?
On the exit.
Yeah.
He made history. He's going to be in the history books at this point for doing what he did. Do you have a problem with your great-grandchildren and Myron, a man who was homosexual, who accomplished what he accomplished? Like, say if we looking at Frederick Douglass or somebody and we find out they was homosexual, do you think it's something wrong with somebody who's trying to create a strong nation and Myron, a homosexual ancestor who might have done something good?
No, I don't think that an ancestor's sexual preference will take away from the greatness that they contributed to society when contributing to it. I'm pretty sure many of the people who I've come across in the readings that I've done about the greatness of our civilization, whether volume 1 or 2 of People of Color, or any of the books that I've read, the encyclopedias and things of that nature, if their sexual preference is not one of a heterosexual, it doesn't take away from what it is that they've done and what they carved into history. You know what I mean? It's almost like if you find out that a war general who helped win a war, you know what I'm saying, and avoid your people being slaughtered, happen to, be confused sexually, does that take away what he done? So I wouldn't be that petty to do that, you know what I mean, to fall into that area of judgment, to say that I could stand there and, So for Tyler Perry, if my grandchildren know about, that he was of a certain sexual preference and he did these things, by time they even grow up, that's gonna be out there, you know what I mean? Like he won't be the first person that they're talking about. So it's more about explaining to them what that is, because they're gonna hear about it and they're gonna see it,
Indeed. Do you think, they say Hollywood is afraid of brothers that are conscious, or brothers that, that are militant, Tupac Shakur's and brothers like that who represent a certain energy. Do you think when Hollywood sees Tyler Perry, considering his discography and the Medea this and the Medea that and the Medea this, do you think they still are fearful when they see him making moves? Do they think they got him in the bag and he's one of them? Or because of his complexion, it don't matter what he did, they still consider him a threat?
Like I said, the fact that you own a studio is a threat. You're a producer. You're an owner. You're an owner of a weapon. You're the owner of something that is considered to be a weapon, because Hollywood and the movies that it produces, the documentaries that it produces, the TV shows that it produces, the music videos that it produces, the cartoons that it produces, the theater that it produces, all of the arts that it produces, that they've been restricting because those gatekeepers who these Kabbalists or whatever, these wizards, these warlocks who are the owners of said studios, or basically, it's been passed down throughout the centuries. Their job and mission is to not allow you to have control of a studio, because that weapon that you now have, you could tell the epic story of the Moors without nobody's funding. Remember, they're the gatekeepers of finance, and they're the gatekeepers of, quote unquote, that Hollywood cycle where they decide what goes to the theaters and things of that nature. But now we have streaming services, now we're online, and you could own your own theaters. So they are petrified at the fact that he was able to do what he did in Atlanta of all places, because they know what that means. There's a trigger that just took place out there. And that trigger is going to reverberate around the world for people who are watching what is going on in America, who actually live places where they have the resources and they have the quote unquote land, and they have the quote unquote financial collectively they have the financial means to duplicate that and replicate that. We can't underestimate ourselves as, black Americans in the wilderness of North Mexico, and the things that we do and how it reverberates around the world. Now Nollywood is going to want to link up. Now Bollywood is going to want to link up. You feel me? So the probabilities of our people seeing, themselves in a depiction of power and intellect and intrigue and mystery and suspense and drama and comedy, animation, and all of these things to show the plethora of talent that exists amongst us from all four corners of the world. Man, I get excited when I think about it, because I know that there's not a lot of things that can have these people shaking in their boots. This move right here, this shit right here, it got them shaking in their boots. Because remember, it's not like, Tyler Perry could be who he is and he could make the movies that he makes. That whole studio was opened up for creatives to go crazy.
Right. Indeed.
So the probabilities of, regardless of what he might be making, the probabilities of somebody making that movie, that masterpiece, that blockbuster, that epic series that changes everything, the probability of that taking place has now been basically in a quantum universe, right? On some quantum shit, it's now quantified. So I encourage all story writers to get busy. I encourage all actors and actresses. I encourage all people with screenplays to begin to adapt a lot of the works of many of our great ancestors and elders who left behind literary books of, I'm talking about the Book of Gods. So
Dave Dash is currently making the Anunnaki movie with Billy Carson.
That's a fact. So that should tell you something. That should tell you where we are in the quote-unquote time-space continuum that we find ourselves in your guy, my man, Dame Dash, is making a film about the Anunnaki. So look how far we've arrived. You know what I'm saying? We have to live in the moment. We have to live in our, in our theta minds. You know what I mean? We have to create a reality as we see it fit. So
shout out to Billy Carson. He's going to be at the conference as well. He's actually closing it out. The title of his lecture is actually Comedic Principles for Quantum Integral Manifestations. And you know what? I've heard everybody talk before. Bobby Hemmett, Delbert Blair. He told me something on the phone that I never heard before. One of the methods that he's going to give to the people before they leave that day. Yeah. So I got to give it to him. He's traveled the world. He's went to these sites. The brother knows something that we aren't privy to. And he's been around, all different types of people. He's got different perspectives on the teachings.
That's a
fact. Brother told me something I never heard before, so I got to give him respect, and I'm extremely happy I got the brother coming to the conference. But there's something I want to talk to you about, something that you're going to be talking about. In the movies, KT always talk about the magic of that screen, that silver screen, I think he calls it. Mm-hmm. And people often say, why you guys in the conscious community focuses so much on decoding movies? Like, it's useless. It's entertainment. But we don't understand the magic that they understand it is. Mm-hmm. So, and that goes into the whole Theta Wave thing. Yeah. So let me just read you something real quick on the internet about Theta Wave, since you're going to be speaking on that.
Indeed.
Your brain waves rule your emotions and your feelings. Your brain waves rule your sensory perceptions. Your brain waves rule your athletic performance and enable peak performance. Your brain waves rule your thoughts. Your brain waves rule your creativity, intuition, your motivation, your self-confidence, and also your self-doubt and your self-confidence. When you change your brain waves, you will change your life. So, and I could go on, but we don't know the science of our body, the science of our being. There's a group of people ruling over us that does. When we go into the movie and we're in a relaxed state and we eat popcorn and we chilling and the lights is off and that light is on us, we're strictly absorbing whatever they're giving us. I mean, this shit is entering our subconscious at a rate way faster than it enters our brain in a normal state. So this is like one of the most hypnotic places in society is the movie theater.
That's a fact.
So talk to me about the whole theta waves and the movie theater being the most hypnotic state, that the best form of hypnosis they have in society.
I mean, that goes right into what we're talking about with the Tyler Perry studios. It's at the studios that these these movies are made that will become hypnotic inside of the movie theater. So the key is, once again, to begin to program the magic, which is the form of writing, which is the script, and then you put it into motion picture, and then you put it in the light, the prisms of light, the celluloid, the silver screen, and then you bring forth the spell, you bring forth the magic, you bring forth your intention, you bring forth your will. You actually could tell your story on film in real time. You can tell the future through film. They've been giving us psychological thrillers. They've been giving us depictions of ourselves as mammies, coons, slaves, fucking bucks. You know what I mean? Jethro Bodine, traitors, snakes, all kind of shit, demons, zombies, you name it. They never showed us as God, though. They didn't balance the scale. They never showed us as sovereigns. They never showed us as royal. They never showed us in the lands where they come from when we was running shit. They don't want you to see that part. So now it's the time for us.
Red, is it true Hollywood was dying and the blaxploitation films brought it back to life?
That's a fact.
How explain
That's
that for me, my brother?
Hollywood was dying. The films that were being made were not being supported. You know, people were not into supporting the films at that time, and then an unknown genre sprouted out of nowhere, and then we get blaxploitation, which they began to fund, and they got their fangs in on it, and then they began to exploit it. Prior to it being exploited, it wasn't considered exploitation. You know what I mean? So, you know, what is important and what we know to be true is that the 100% creative control is what you need and what we need on any of our projects in the future in order to tell our story in this environment, in this reality, because you have to be able to control your reality. And that's what these films afford. And for so long, they've been restricting that expression. So going into 2020, once again, on some quantum, on some quantum entanglement shit, and on some quantum, you know, the quantum, variance growing exponentially for so many things that can happen. So it's a beautiful time to be here, Rich.
Where does white supremacy fit in the quantum world? When you're working from a quantum perspective, not an ego perspective, not a human perspective, but you know we're multi-dimensional. When
That's
Red
right.
is in his quantum bag, how does that fit into your whole quantum experience? Is it even a problem? Is it even a thought? Is it even an idea? Does it pop up in your mind? How does that factor into your quantum equation, Red Pill?
Only way that factors into my quantum equation is it's the Y to my X, you know. It's the antagonist to the protagonist, you know. It's the 0 to the 1. You know, you always have to have that negative and the positive to be present in order for the magic to take place. So if it weren't them, it would be somebody else. But in all times,
very good perspective. It's a very good way to look at it.
In all situations, in all times, you know, in all affairs, you're gonna find that variant at play at all times, X and Y.
Right.
This is a dualistic reality that we live in. I understand that part. We're not necessarily in a quantum universe as of yet. We're still in dualism. We're still in left and right, good and bad. You know what I mean? Black and white. You know what I mean? Gay and straight. You know, we're in that world. You know, zeros and ones. So quantum represents something bigger than that. Now, keep in mind that we are definitely into the quantum age because Google has achieved what is known as quantum supremacy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And with quantum supremacy, you know, we're entering into something completely different. The quantum internet is on the way. You know, it's so many things that they're gonna have a quantum, the quantum computers like the D Wave, and there's other computers that are gonna be, you know, at a more affordable price available for consumers. Like this thing is about to go into hyperspeed. This thing is about to go into hyperspeed. And that means that our people, our progeny, and you know, everybody who is definitely prepared, you know, and definitely in alignment, and definitely on the frequency to whereas you know that nobody can't necessarily be your enemy because they're not as powerful as you. So I don't even vibrate like this is my foe. I just vibrate as this is a polar opposite, a necessary friction in order to, you know what I mean?
In order for you to get where you gotta get.
Yeah, like, you know, and it, you know, and it's not even really that serious. It's really not that serious. You know, my theory in life is you give power to what you pay attention to. And that variant or that rule and whatnot, that thing goes all across the board. That's something that you can't necessarily decide if you want to obey or not. What you give power to, what you give attention to, you give power to. So you got to be careful as to where you put your attention. You know what I mean? So we can't necessarily even give what people are trying to identify as a foe any kind of attention, because the further around the world that I'm going, I'm seeing that it's not what you think it is. I promise you. It's not what you think it is. You know. So
wow, man. Well,
I don't even feel like that's a formidable foe at the end of the day. Like, My theory at the end of the day is, at the end of whatever road they on, somebody that look like us is back there, bro. It has
Still
to
in
be.
charge.
They're not doing this shit by themselves, bro. You feel me? They're not doing what they're doing by themselves. You would be naive to think of that. So I don't even see them as foes. When you go to Europe, the European in Europe is not the European from America. They completely different pedigrees and stocks. The European in Europe can't beat it. They can't be, how they run the world? Come on, B. Are you serious? Some of these niggas, it look like Shrek real life movie in some places. These can't be the dudes that got a foot on you niggas' necks. Are you serious? So it's part of the illusion. Let me share something with you. This is what I got from the book AA. Shout out to AA Rashid. He got a book out, and it talks about the greatest illusion that's being played on us right now. Because keep in mind, I'm talking about the war machine called Hollywood in the spill-off, or what it has created. Remember, this is a spell casting agency, and it has created what is known as the greatest illusion known to man. It colonized the American mind. The mind outside America don't think like that. When you go to America, you realize niggas is on this time because of Hollywood. Okay, they colonized the mind. So what they've done is they've created a reality that does not exist. They've depicted us and put us in a reality that does not exist. The illusion that they created is the white man is supreme. Superman, Rambo, Indiana Jones, all of these movies, all of these TV shows, every fucking thing, and the role that we play in each one of them fits the category. There's 4 categories of a fucking coon, and you fit every single one of those. You're not the Heru in the story. So they've been getting away with that ever so long, and the programming, the level of programming that has been created is that our people think lesser of themselves and our people think greater of themselves, and they give these people wild credit, and it's primarily, it's a 3-headed hydra, the hydra from the Godzilla movie, which is a movie that everybody gotta see. That's the King of the Monsters, that's a must. Religion, Hollywood, and the deducation system, or miseducation. That's the 3-headed hydra that they've created an illusionary. You want to know the Matrix? You want to meet Red Pill, nigga? This the Matrix, and that's the Matrix. The Matrix is the illusion. The way that the illusion can be broken, not the only way, but if you reverse engineer what the fuck been done to you, you need 30 years worth of all black, all melanated, all cosmic, all God body information, or videos, or movies, or not documents, not YouTubes, not documentaries like that, movies, right, Rich? I'm talking epic, I'm talking mood, I'm talking not shit niggas piece together, I'm talking about epics, 3-part series, the Moorish, the epic, the comedic 5-part, I'm talking about big movies. You gotta do it at this point, because that's where the spell has been casted, through that screen. That's how they're creating quantum universes. Every time they put one of these myths, these are European myths that they have now put in front of you, and you're immersed in that world, and you agree to it, and it takes control of us.
I'm glad this is so important, because like I said, people don't understand the nature of our being, and your brain doesn't understand the difference between imagination and reality.
It don't.
So when you absorb this information, a lie becomes just as powerful as the truth.
It does.
It's indistinguishable. Is that a word?
That's a fact.
So your brain can't tell the difference.
Can't tell it.
Can't tell it. So it processes it and it outputs it as this is your reality.
Bro, the fantasy
Real
industry is $1 trillion. I said it before. It's $1 trillion industry. It's called a fantasy, and that's where all of this stuff fits in. Man. You could tell whatever story that you need to be compelled to tell, because it don't matter. This is all mental. man is mind. All is meant. This is quantum, my niggas. You could create any. This is Real Player One, my niggas. This shit is a computer. It's a code. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Hack this shit. You hack it with the movies. You hack it with the video games. You hack it through animation. That's how you hack the code. That's the key. That's the cheat code.
The arts.
The game through the arts. I mean, the game to be sold, but goddamn it, I'm giving you one. That's how you hack it.
Listen, man, I can't wait to your presentation.
This is just a warm up. Granted, I'm finna take off.
I know.
I should be in Amigos. You know what I'm talking about?
Yo, man, thanks for coming out, family. November 3rd, Red Pill's performer, Last Breath, Can't Buy the Blue Pill.
We ain't talking about the UK, though.
He has an awesome presentation. Tell the people, to close out, tell the people about your trip. Because Blue talk to them about it, but go ahead, tell the people.
Listen, I just want to say this. There are two hemispheres in the brain, and then there's two hemispheres in the world. So in order to connect the two hemispheres in your brain, in my humble opinion, I might not even be correct. I suggest that you go to the other side of the world to get that other side of your brain going. Because, promise you, and this is on mama them, the United Kingdom united the kingdoms, right? I got invited to the queendom, because I'm going to Congo in 2020. Look out for me. We coming with the queen, Diambi. That's all facts. And the kingdoms were united. Shout out to Nova Felder, the king, Nana, my brother Nana Yao. You know what I'm talking about? Queen Diambi. Everybody got to get their shout outs. Black Ice TV, Richie, Terry, Andrew, everyone. It was a monument to Jelani, Kids Who Bank. It was a wonderful experience. Blue Pill had a ball. Blue Pill was blown away. Blue Pill felt that the love was overwhelming. And it was real and it was authentic. You know what I'm talking about? Mine like Red Pill, they rock with the kid. So it was a homecoming. It was a coronation. We made history, Father Rich. Bro, we made history a few times out there. The minute we got out there, we saw a street that said more land. We went to Brixton, they call it Brixie. The minute we pulled up, a sister was like, I was just watching y'all on YouTube. What y'all doing here? You feel me? Then we went to the market, we linked up with the Rostam and whatnot, and the Sabi energy was just mad strong. They love Sabi in the UK. So the UK family, everybody that's hearing me, take a trip. Go and see your brothers and sisters in the UK. I was in one place in Birmingham or Birmingham Veg, and thousands of people came out. I was in, we went to Leeds. The community in Leeds came out, mad love. We went to Croydon. The Croydon community the building was packed. In all of these places, we had panel discussions. It was also friendly debates, you know what I mean? And we were able to do commerce. The UK is lit. The UK is lit. We'll be back in December. How about it? And I'm just saying, thank you, real talk. And last but not least, went to the Parliament. We held court as sovereigns in Parliament. Go and ask the bloke them from the UK what that be about. Cause I didn't know how how serious it was until I was in it. They have the building of one of them, the ceiling is a Viking ship. Like, this is the White House for out there, but this is different because out there is a monarchy. This is this is Democrat Republic. This is a monarchy, bro. You can't talk about the queen. They rocking with a queen. So a queen, or a quote unquote, the parliament recognized an actual sitting queen of the Congo, Queen Diambi, and she was able to bring her delegation of the gods and the goddesses, and we went in there, shout out to 19 Keys, we went in there, we held court, and we dealt with worldly affairs, family. We went in. When I say we went in, I'm saying that the ancestors are proud of the fact that we did something that has never been done. They don't hold court for black people in parliament. You dig what I'm saying? That's an anomaly. We went in there, we was in our proper persona. Our spiritual father was Mfudishi. That's facts. We were all accepted as royalty, I promise you. Like, it's crazy. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? The UK, it was a beautiful thing. I will be back. Like, the history in that place is dying to be told. The history in that place, and there's brothers that are breaking it down too. They've got books and all of that. They decoding it, but you know, the path that I'm on right now with my research and in my study, dealing with the grid. Shout out to Ras Ben, his book, Free Your Mounds for Your Mind, so your mind will follow. Classic. www.rasben.com. Go get that. And you know, I feel like not Indiana Jones. You know what I'm talking about? I'm Bankhead Jones, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Bankhead Jones. You know, going around the world. Yo, we went to the museum. See, it's so much stuff. We're gonna put a clip of all of the things together. We went to the British Museum with Mfudishi. Son, it was 100 of us. We took over every single wing that we was in. Mfudishi smoked it. And you know he's the master teacher, so no belligerency, because it's all scholarship in the UK. You on your upstairs. He smoked them. He had other tours stopping, writing, you know, taking notes. Oh. So all I'm saying is amazing, the impact of this channel right here, Sonetta, big up Sonetta, Know the Ledge, all of the channels, everybody that's putting this information out around the world.
They knew Black Magic 363 out there?
Bro, when you come out, you thought you got your coronation waiting too. This ain't about just the red and blue, like it's about those that are you know, doing the work. Real recognize real. Shout out to, and we did music too, like we put in some work, and we brokered some deals with some businesses. Shout out to Black Ice Stores. We have a partnership with these brothers right there. You know, this is your one-stop shop for all brands in the UK and in America and in Africa. blackicestores.com. Like, we working, man. We definitely are working. Facts2020.org. Go and sign up to that. We need to organize and rise and do what needs to be done. Like, the time is now. Everything is taking place. Shout out October 19th in DC, the return of the shifters. Shout out to all of the brothers. You know what I mean? So it's going down, you know.
Well, man, it's good to have you back on the channel, man. It's very inspiring hearing about your trip to the UK. I look forward to some of the footage. I seen some of the footage so far on Know the Ledge YouTube channel.
Nah, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, man.
We got all of the events. Everything was filmed professionally. You know what I mean? Like, we got a lot of stuff, so
man, we
might put it all in one package and put it out there. But yeah, this is just the beginning. Like, this is just the beginning. My thing is this: 2020 is here. It's about clear vision. We in theta mode, baby. We see tomorrow. We could see ourselves 100 years from now. We could see our dreams and our ideas and our concepts and the narratives in which we are out here putting into the mind. We're doing the role of Hollywood.
Facts.
On a level that could be even surpassing Hollywood, because realism is not necessarily scripted. Knowledge and all of this intelligence, intuition, and downloads, this is pure. This not scripted. This not Hollywood. This Harley Hood, my nigga. This is in the streets. So this is a different element. So in my humble opinion, this trumps Hollywood, because you can't come up with this in the writing rooms. You know?
No.
And this is changing the real world narrative, because I promise you, Think about it, because think about the DVDs that we used to go around the world. Think about the VHS tapes. Think about the audio tapes. Think about the blog talk radio shows. Think about the YouTube clips. That's a whole lot of content, and that content has broke down movies. That content has broke down religions. That content has exposed whole organizations. I mean, it's done a lot. It's woken up people. It's broken up people. It's smoking up people. You know what I'm talking about? It's provoking up people. It's doing a lot of things. Imagine when this thing gets on a silver screen. That's what you need. That's what we need to be focusing on in this quantum theta world. This, you know, we're gonna deal with how we could hack the brain and make tomorrow a reality, because I'm an Afrofuturist, so I'm not dealing with limitations.
Indeed.
Going over there.
Them Silicon Valley boys ain't dealing with limitations.
They're not dealing with limitations. I think that a lot of us are being too fragmented in our little one square. Remember, connect the other sphere of your hemisphere. Turn that shit on. You gotta go places to make that happen.
Well, man, like I said, man, thanks for coming on again, my brother. Look forward to seeing you November 3rd. Make sure you check out Nola Led's YouTube channel for clips on him and Blue Pill's trip to the UK.
Facts.
And besides that, we getting out of here. Any websites you want to lead the people with, or you?
Yeah, kingscounty.bigcartel.com. Come and get that drip. Shout out to the brethren among them. Alchemist. That's the UK massive, like I said. blackeyestores.com, facts2020.org, Cash App, Phil Moreland. Love and light to the family. Peace.
First and foremost, I want to tell everybody about the 2020 Ascension Conference happening November 3rd in New York City. I advise everybody to come to New York City, and if you're unable to come, make sure you get the pay-per-view live stream. But it's going to be an absolutely amazing spiritual event. The best way for us to bring in 2020, we got Red Pill speaking, Blue Pill speaking, Sri Master Gano Grills, and Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. You know, the brother has over 1 million subscribers on Instagram and throughout his networks, and you know, it's just going to be a magnificent spiritual event. Make sure you're there. That's in St. Francis College in Brooklyn, New York. Okay, besides that, make sure you support King Simon November 10th. He's having his 24th celebration in promotion and production, and he's going to have a list of speakers there, and it's going to be magnificent. I know my brother KT, the Arch Degree, will be in the building that day, as well as other speakers. Also, make sure you hit the brother up as far as numerology. He will help you in terms of that sign, so make sure you contact the brother in terms of that. Shout out to my brother Mike, who has the crowns. If you see my brother Styles P right here, but you'll see everybody wearing these crowns in the conscious community. Red Pill, Blue Pill, Sarnetta, everybody got these crowns, and I advise you to get yours. All right. Besides that, I want to give a shout out to Lisa Brown. She has the best Kemetic yoga mats in the world, and everybody's getting them at this point, so I advise you to get yours, and make sure you get your yoga on. Shout out to Parindra Rajadeep, who got the organic products as far as stimulating growth, as far as alopecia, pain relief, and other things. Make sure you contact these individuals for help with that. Besides that, make sure you hit up riversideTaiChi.com for the joint balance formula. This has been selling great on the website. Glucose support formula, that's something else that's real good for stable blood sugar, so make sure you contact the brother for that as well. All right, family, besides that, we're going to get to the program.